Morning. It's April 29th. We got started planting yesterday over here on some sand. This is very fine sandy loam. This is probably our best pivot, our best field. It's got good water holding capacity and pretty easy to farm, and you can get on it a little well without hurting it. You're looking at red ball monitors monitoring fertilizer going out. Each one of the balls represents fertilizer to each row, and if they're all running even, they're all getting an equal amount of liquid fertilizer. Fertilizers, think about pretty strong on the phos, like a 14-24, 0 potash. We have good potash levels in our soils, about 3 sulfur and just a little bit of zinc, according to our soil test and what we've already laid down with the strip tiller. This is strip till planting. If you see that, we're running that outside one was dragging just a little bit there. You can see that drop residue row cleaner working out there, just scrape away anything that the strip tiller left behind to give us a nice clean seed bed, as evidenced behind the planter there. This system's pretty amazing to me. We used to run 2 tractors from basically the end of February until we got done planting. One if not both of them doing tillage, and then this time of year we'd have one running a finisher or field cultivator right ahead of me. It saves a lot of labor, and I've commented many times fuel savings is I think pretty close to 2/3. A little bit. I changed tractors this year, upgraded a little bit, went to a little more horsepower and a little newer technology. It's a John Deere 8430. It set fuel efficiency standards at the University of Nebraska Tractor Test Labs, where they pulled a little instrumentation around their concrete track. And those tests have been verified in my field trials this spring. We're getting, depending on the field and how hard to pull, we're getting 15 to almost 30% better fuel economy than the previous tractor. And we're pulling we pulled our strip tiller deeper and at a more consistent deep depth. It's plenty of tractor for this 12-row planter, which is pretty small these days. We generally have a larger planting window, so out west we run a little smaller planters and spend a little more time in our tractors. As far as a smaller tractor would pull that planter just fine, but if we dial back our RPMs, we'll get about the same fuel economy as a smaller tractor, and then I don't have the fixed cost of having 2 modern tractors at one time. The tractor steering itself, we're running down the rows that I created with the strip tiller. It's running a corrected DGPS signal, which means I pay John Deere $1,500 a year for a corrected signal that's supposed to give me 4 inches pass-to-pass accuracy. Usually it's better than that, and that's usually good enough for this particular system. Here I got to turn around, so I'll be a little busy here for a minute. Now engage the auto steer, come into the row. There it lines up. I got a green bar up in the center there, and I'll drop my planter. And away we go. It's a little late. That's what I get for talking and trying to trying to film at the same time, but it's minor. So a little bit of the technology. The 2020 seed sense monitor is an aftermarket product. It's a pretty good product. It was on this planter. I bought this planter used last year. It came with the planter. I would probably buy another one. It gives you some features that you don't get with the John Deere planter monitor. The big one I like is the downforce. It tells you, make sure that your wheels or your depth wheels are making solid contact with the ground, which ensures your correct seed depth. That's something you never really knew unless you got off and dug, and going through the field it would change and you couldn't really see that. It's got lots of other functions. It's actually better than the sensors it's using, so sometimes you'll get errors that really aren't errors, it's just sensor errors. Sensors read really dust. If you got a lot of dust in there, they might count dust as seed, or if you have wind coming up from behind, it'll swirl the dust around in the tube and the sensor will think it's seed. But overall it works pretty good. This monitor, a few other things it tells you is percent of skips and multis. A skip probably means you need a little more, if you're getting a lot of skips, you probably need a little more suction on your vacuum disc, because you're not holding the disc or the seed up to the disc with enough firmness. The multis, they're really small. I have the company that makes the 2020 seed sense makes an attachment for your seed meters that virtually eliminates the multis, or the doubles we used to call them, where you have two seeds dropped in one spot. Then another nice feature of that monitor is the good ride. It's pretty cushy sitting right here in the tractor seat. Got suspension on the front of the tractor, and I'm sitting on an air over. It's actually air over a magnetic fluid seat. It's got a sensor that adds more magnetism or less to the fluid in the seat to make it stiffer or harder. So you're sitting here, in a plush ride while your planter's back there bouncing around. So the good ride, if it's green, you're doing okay. If it's yellow, you probably need to slow down a little bit. That's probably the biggest factor in getting a perfect picket fit stand. John Deere, this big monitor here is the GS2. Controls the auto steer, and it's also controlling population as we go through the field. If you see the background colors here, those are all different planting rates. This field's pretty even, so there's not a lot of variation, but the good soils are getting more seed by prescription. And then we also look at a hybrid's response to different populations, and some of them like to be planted thicker, so we'll tweak our prescriptions a little bit according to the variety every year. The zones or the areas that get different rates of seed, we look at our yield monitor and look at our yield maps, and basically layer our zones over the yield areas, try and group areas of similar yields together and match the production potential to the seeding rate. Then I can get just productivity functions, and also the similar functions, planter monitor functions, pretty much similar to the 2020 seed sense, the one with the green on it, but maybe not quite as detailed. Then lastly over here is Henniker 440 or not Henniker, it's a Raven 440. It's controlling liquid fertilizer out. As I speed up and slow down, it opens and closes the valve so I get an even rate through the field. And it'll change on the go. I could even set up a prescription for it, but right now it's really not necessary for this particular operation. There's times when it would be nice to have prescriptions and they're just laying down nitrogen fertilizer. We find something that works pretty well on most soil types and go with it for a grade. So continuing on here. That's about it on the planter functions. This little box here I can shut off my planter in 3 sections. So if you're in an irregular field, like on a pivot, when you get down to the shorter rows, you have these little triangles. You can shut off a 30-year planter to avoid doubling. It'll save you a couple bags of seed on a circle. You can automate that function also. So that's about it for the planter part. I'll do another video and just kind of talk about the tractor. So we'll just let her go here. So thanks for riding along.